I have literally made every single texting mistake out there when it comes to meeting new women, to even relationships. I've done it all. That's why in this video, I'm gonna let you know the 5 texting mistakes that I wish I knew sooner. And that way you guys don't make the same mistakes that I did, all right? So subscribe, like, let's get into it. Now, every time you meet a woman, it always starts with just a conversation. Whether you're cold approaching her, whether you're meeting her through a friend, whether you're texting her on a dating app platform. And with that being said, when it comes to actually the date setup, for example, the first date, somewhere in our heads tells us that we should continue texting the woman and continue the conversation, because if we back out, then she's not gonna be attracted to us anymore, right? I know I thought that for the longest time. I would meet a woman on a dating app or meet a woman out, we would text, she would agree to meet up with me, I would continue texting her, and then when the date comes, all of a sudden she goes ghost. Now I've wasted so much time, so much of my attention, and overall I just feel like I was used the whole entire time. So the first mistake you absolutely cannot make is texting the woman after the date has been already set up. Now I know what you're thinking, well, won't she lose attraction or interest? No, it's all about how you frame it. So after she has agreed to the date, all you have to say is, I don't want to kill the mystery. Let's continue this conversation whenever we meet up. But the date isn't until, 2 weeks from now. Well, that's where you messed up. That's where you should always set the dates max 6 days out. Max 6 days out. Ideally between 2 and 3 days out. That way you don't have to maintain her interest and keep her warm throughout that whole entire time period. And whenever you say, hey, I don't want to kill the mystery, let's continue this conversation in person, more than likely they're going to accept and agree with it, because they also don't want to kill the mystery either. And sometimes women will lead you down a dark hole where they will want to keep texting you, but they don't even realize themselves that you continue texting them is actually making them less interested in you. And that's because, once again, we are killing the mystery. A lot of women just like that intrigue and the mystery that a man holds about himself. And whenever you text too much, you're simply just giving that away. Now, mistake number 2 is absolutely overthinking everything. Notice how whenever you text your friend or even text your family in some cases, how you just naturally just text whatever's on your head. You're not overthinking what to say, how to say it, how to reply. And yes, I know, most of the times you guys are overthinking because it's almost like walking through a minefield with a lot of these women, especially if they're young, if you say the wrong thing and all of a sudden she's turned off. But the more natural you can be, the more authentic you can be, you're gonna notice that texting becomes a lot easier. Actually, next time you're texting a woman who you don't know, pretend she is somebody that you do know. And notice how it's gonna be a lot easier to text them. And that's because you were simply in your head the whole entire time. I see this all the time in my coaching program. Guys are sending me, what should I say to this? Or how should I reply to that? And I just ask them, if they were your friend, how would you reply? And they actually end up giving me a good response. And that's because they were in their head the whole entire time. Listen, just be natural, and you'll come to find out whenever you actually stop trying, in some cases, though it sounds crazy to say, but whenever you actually stop trying and be more authentic to who you are and how you text, you're actually gonna notice even better results. It's funny how that works. Now, this is gonna take some practice. I'm not gonna say it's gonna be easy. Overthinking is something that most guys do. But if you do want an easier way to actually keep the conversation going and never run out of things to say, then check out my free ebook called Text God. Within this ebook, I'm gonna show you some systems and some lines that I use. That way, I always keep the conversation interesting and going, and I literally never run out of things to say. So it's completely free. All you gotta do is tap the link down below in the description, and I'm gonna send it right over to you, all right? So check it out, link will be down below. Now, I do a lot of text audits with my clients, and one thing I always see too is that they're overall investing less in the conversation than the woman is. So for example, the guy's sending paragraphs, telling stories, giving a lot of context, but the woman is just giving just a few words or max like 2 lines, 2 sentences. And with that being said, another text rule that I made a huge mistake when I was younger is the fact that I will over invest in the conversation and I wouldn't match her energy, thus positioning myself to be lower value than her, because I'm really trying to get her to invest. I'm telling all these stories, I'm giving a lot of context, I'm sending paragraphs, I'm giving a lot of explanation. Overall, what you have to do is figure out how to say more with less. If you have to use ChatGPT AI, go ahead, by all means do it, but you need to actually train yourself to look at your messages and say, am I able to say this in less words? Am I able to say this in a shorter context? Do I actually need this full context of whatever I'm telling her? Chances are you probably don't. And like I said, match her energy. If she's sending you one word text, she's giving low investment, then guess what? You're gonna do the same exact thing. And it's super funny whenever you actually start matching her energy and she starts realizing like, man, this guy's boring. But she doesn't realize it started because of her. You're boring. That's why I'm boring. You guys already know. If she's not giving any sort of investment, hit her with that yawn emoji and leave it at that. Or another way you can get her to invest is to simply just give a statement. That way she either has to respond back or give a question back. All these tips and tricks I'm mentioning right now are also in the ebook that I mentioned earlier. Now, I'm not a fan of giving a woman my number instead of my Instagram. Most of you guys know this because I believe Instagram is a more complete resume about yourself. She has more context of who you are. But the times where I have given my number, what I forgot to do was send a picture of myself. It sounds prehistoric, especially for you younger guys out there. Like, send a picture of myself, like that's weird. No, it's not to save a contact profile picture or anything weird like that. It's so you get more context about who you are. Hey, it's Austin from Hinge. Send a picture. Hey, it's Austin, the guy you met last night. Send a attractive picture of yourself. That way you have more context. She reminds herself of how attractive you are, or the vibe or the energy or the emotion she felt in that initial interaction with you. And also, more than likely, especially if she's feeling you, she's gonna end up sending a picture back. What is this? This is a form of compliance that shows that a woman actually likes you. But if she doesn't send a picture back, it's not always a red flag. It's more so like a yellow flag, but it's also, like I said, a good way just to test how much a woman does like you. Whenever you send a picture, she does send a picture back, or she compliments you on how handsome you are, or she's now reminded of the conversation you had before. It just makes the flow a lot easier versus saying, hey, it's Austin, or hey, it's John. Always just try to send a picture of yourself. And the picture that I like sending is always an attractive mirror selfie. You don't want to send like these super clean cut portrait pictures with a professional photographer. No, we say that for the dating app profile. We say that for the Instagram. When you send her a picture, just send her a low effort picture. It could be a mirror selfie. It could be just a normal selfie, as long as you look good. Now, the fifth mistake that I was doing for the longest time is not leveraging my voice, not using voice notes. Now, the reason why this is so important is because with text, obviously, you can't hear tonality. And for that reason, you can't get the full context of what the person is saying or how the person is saying it. And sometimes it even gets misconstrued in the wrong way. So whenever I leverage voice notes within my text game, occasionally, not all the time, but at different parts of the quote unquote funnel, I like to say, that's when I notice a lot better results because women were actually feeling like they knew me more. Even when you're messaging on Instagram, you have context about yourself. Sometimes a woman still doesn't really get to know you unless they hear your voice. Because when they hear your voice, they can hear how you form sentences, how you come off, your dialect, your accent, your intellect. Because a lot of speech patterns too shows how intelligent you actually are. And sometimes your voice might surprise a woman too. So for example, if a woman sees my image, but she hears how I speak, how professional I sound, how charismatic I may sound, that actually gets her emotions more invested within me and makes her more comfortable, thus making her more likely to meet up on the date or just overall more attracted to me. Now, if you have a light squeaky voice, then nah, don't do this. If you're going through puberty and you're having a lot of voice cracks, nah, don't do this. But if you practice your masculine tonality, speaking from the bottom of your chest, almost your stomach area, using that masculine seductive voice and practicing it, it can actually make you stand out in comparison to all the other men she's talking to. Because best believe she's talking to more than one guy, but most of those guys are making these texting mistakes that I mentioned in this video. So don't be that guy. Once again, download the free text ebook called Text God, subscribe, and I'm gonna see you guys in the next video.